Hey everybody, I had a request to do a chart analysis on Ethereum, so I am going to go ahead and do that now. For Ethereum, I'm taking us back to this would be the very beginning of December 7th, right around the same time IOTA had a big run. I feel like that was on the 6th or the 7th as well. But now for this one in particular, it is a little different than Bitcoin. Obviously, there was a massive pump that occurred on Ethereum, and this would have been right here on about the 12th. About midday Eastern time on the 12th of December. You can see a humongous amount of volume right here on this particular time period. I'm on a 2-hour chart at the moment. And basically, if we take a retracement starting here at 0.0237 and moving our way up to 0.123, this is when people were saying, well, this is where Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin on market capacity, and it didn't happen. And basically, you had a big bull run. And then at this point, you had all of these people, and likely these people down here that bought at 0.023, 0.04, that they decided at this point, well, we're running out of steam, and so we're going to go ahead and sell. We had, a lot of resistance at these various levels, and we saw massive amounts of resistance at this level, and then basically we had that final run up, that last pump, and then it's been basically going down ever since. We saw a sharp decline, which when a decline is this sharp, it's basically a sign to whoever that's currently invested in a coin. This sharp of a decline basically is saying, okay, this run is done. Because some of the other declines that we saw, they weren't as vertical. They had at least a little bit of horizontal. They had some degrees of angle to the downtrend. It wasn't so steep. So when you see something that gradually goes up and then has a steep decline down, you know that that's probably a good indication that you need to get out of whatever you are invested in. And hopefully you didn't buy up here. I'll tell you right now is I would never have even give a thought as to buying Ethereum up here. I probably wouldn't have even purchased it down here. It just didn't make sense after it went through such a massive run. And you can see it lasted for maybe a half a day, the big run up, and then within 2-3 hours it was gone back down to where it started. And then we had some consolidation here, but then eventually as we settled underneath this Fibonacci retracement line, we saw just continue to go down. We saw some upward and downward motion, and that's basically where we've been ever since. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but right now we are at another Fibonacci retracement line, and we are just barely making it. And the same thing is true with Bitcoin, but this is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. This is not the Ethereum USD chart. So those have a lot of different fundamental indicators that go along with them. But you can also see we're getting closer to the bottom of our wedge. This is a downward wedge that we're seeing here. So where is it going next? Well, if I had to give a guesstimate as to where we're heading next, let me just kind of get my bearings here. Probably is going to continue going down a little bit, probably to 0.05. My guess is that once this eventually goes maybe back up to 0.06, and then finds its way to recorrect back down. Once it hits 0.05, you're going to probably see a huge amount of support at this level. I don't believe it's going to allow it to go any farther down, but I do expect it to continue to decline at least for a little bit. But this Ethereum chart is a good indicator to look at when you're comparing other altcoins, because a lot of people will say, well, this was a high cap coin, which means it already had a really high market value, and there's no way it can go any higher. Well, over the course of basically a month, it went from 0.0237 to 0.123. And if you're looking at this from a price range, you're looking at an increase of cost or your increase of profit, 413%. That's a huge increase in Bitcoin. If you had one Bitcoin that you had purchased Ethereum down here on the 7th of December, and you sold at the all-time high. Actually, I'm not sure this is an all-time high. I shouldn't say that. But if you had sold up here at this point, which was 0.123, you would have had 4.1 Bitcoin. That's tremendous. Even with the huge decline that we have seen, if you did sell up here, and even if you held Bitcoin throughout this entire market crash, you still have 4 Bitcoin. So, 1 Bitcoin's cost down here at this level on the 7th of December, that was still pretty high. I want to say maybe like 10, 11,000. I'm just guessing. But if you have 4 Bitcoin even today, you're still looking at 32,000. So this is one of the only options, or one of the only scenarios where holding actually makes sense. If you buy 1 Bitcoin and you hold it through the entire market up and down, and not reinvest in a different altcoin or something that's going to increase the amount of Bitcoin that you have, the holding concept is flawed because it's going to take you so much time to recover your losses. The only real way to make back your investment when you use that hold mentality is if you're trying to increase your Bitcoin, because if you don't do that, you're stuck. 1 Bitcoin is always 1 Bitcoin. If you buy 1 Bitcoin at 5,000 and it runs up to 20,000 and you don't sell it, well, then you might as well not have bought it at all, to be honest. Because the way you play this game is you buy, you sell, you buy, you sell. That's the way to make money in this market. This market moves way too fast. This is not like the stock market. You do not buy and hold for long periods of time. Especially when you see big market moves like this, right? So if you bought last January, you bought it, $600-$700, and you're holding, you're still in the profit if you use that hold mentality. But honestly, you're a fool for not selling at the all-time high. Not to go on a tangent, but when you see big, massive bull runs like this, take your profit, because whatever goes up will come down. And Ethereum is a perfect example of this. And it's happened to so many coins. It happened to Verge. It happened to Tron. It happened to Cardano. It happened to Ethereum, of all coins. And heck, just recently in February, it happened to Litecoin. It went from, I want to say, 0.015 up to 0.025. That's a decent increase in profit. So if you had it and you didn't sell it, then this is just lessons, right? And the only reason why I bring this up, I'm not trying to lecture, I'm just basically saying these are the lessons that we need to learn to make profit in our trading. It's your money and you do with it what you want, but I'm just saying the hold mentality isn't always the best, so just consider that. Okay. All right, well, I'm done lecturing. I hope this has helped you. I'm expecting there to be a little sideways movement on Ethereum, likely going to continue to go down, potentially to 0.05. Honestly, I thought, about a couple weeks ago, I thought 0.06 was going to be the low point, and right now that's exactly where it's at. It's at 0.06. So, look for moves above 0.062, and if it does happen to break above this downward trend, then that might be a good area to buy in. So this area right here, if it does happen to break out of this pattern, then this would be a good point to buy in. So that's going to be at 0.063. Or 0.064, somewhere in that area. So I wouldn't buy in until we have confirmed that we are done with the downward trend. Otherwise, you could potentially just buy something in order to continue losing, and you turn into a bag holder. So anyway, I hope this really helped you. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We want to share our thoughts and ideas with the community. I am not a crystal ball, but I will do the best that I can to try and advise based on the indicators that I see. So hopefully everybody has a great rest of your day, and take care.